You ever notice one of the most perfectly unfair loops in the professional world? The person who's always putting out fires, always the one to fix the unfixable, gets the glory, but loses something far more valuable in the process. Stick with me and I'll show you why this glory is really a trap. It's this. The person who's always putting out fires, the one everyone runs to when things are melting down, the legendary fixer, they get all the gratitude, and they lose almost everything else. Let me show you why. Because every time you flawlessly rescue a situation, you send the most dangerous signal possible to the system. You whisper, "This problem doesn't actually need to be solved." Your superpower is quietly turning you into the system's favorite coping mechanism. It's human patch for its own broken code. But what happens when the system stops trying to fix the code? When you become the permanent patch, the one they can't replace? The answer might just change the way you view your role forever. All right, pause here. Let's make this real. Picture this scenario. Your team hits the same process wall again, the same crisis. What do you think the system, the actual machinery of the company, is really trying to do? A, eradicate the problem forever, root and branch. B, find the person who can make the bleeding stop the fastest. C, calculate if this mess is expensive enough to warrant a real structural fix. Drop your guess in the comments. By the end of this, you'll know the cold, self-preserving math behind the only answer that matters. Let's break down the trap, piece by piece. First, how you become the buffer layer, from hero to tool. Meet Anna. She's an operations specialist at a major logistics firm in Berlin. Every quarter, like clockwork, their global freight tracking system eats itself. Data corruption on a massive scale. Panic ensues. And every time, only Anna can perform a series of manual overrides, a kind of digital witchcraft to restore visibility within hours. They call her the data magician. She gets applause, she gets bonuses. But Anna, after a few years, starts to see the pattern, the underlying software bug, the one causing this every single time. It's never been fixed. Here's the chilling part. The more she fixes it, the less anyone cares about solving it. Her ability to fix becomes the reason the problem is never solved. What happens when the system realizes that fixing the problem means losing its best fixer? On the official tech roadmap, it's perpetually deprioritized. Why? Simple. Because Anna is so good at patching the leak, the urgency to rebuild the crumbling pipe vanishes. Her brilliance becomes the system's best excuse for inertia. She didn't solve a problem. She became the reason the problem never gets solved. If you've ever felt like a highly efficient human patch, type patch below. Second, the beautiful asymmetry of credit and blame. Let's talk about the reward system for the problem solver. It's rigged with a perfect quiet logic. When you successfully defuse the bomb, the celebratory email says, "Great team effort." The credit is diffuse, shared, watered down. But the moment that problem even twitches again, all eyes, especially the manager's eyes, snap directly to you. Anna, you handled this last time. What's different now? Your competence doesn't make you a hero. It makes you the default accountability node. Success is collective. Failure is yours alone. You stop being a volunteer. You become the obligated bearer. Third, the competence lock-in. Why you can't get off the bus. This is the broken windows paradox personified. Imagine a building with shattered windows. Fixing them properly is cheap, smart. But now imagine there's a maintenance worker who's a miracle artist. They can make a broken window look whole with temporary fixes, sometimes even better than new. Does the landlord rush to order new windows? Of course not. They become reliant on the artist. The worker masters the art of repair year after year, but they also become permanently trapped in that role. The building never gets renovated, and their own path to becoming, say, the architect, it's silently blocked by their own exceptional skill. That's you. Your problem-solving ability lets the system stay comfortable, and the system pays you back by permanently assigning you to the solver seat. None of this is new. It's ancient, refined calculus. Over 2,000 years ago, the Chinese strategist Han Feizi nailed the essence of this. A core idea. The rule of a sage leader does not rely on people being good, but on employing mechanisms that prevent them from doing wrong. Translate that to modern corporate. Good governance doesn't depend on you voluntarily being a hero. It depends on structures that make it impossible for you to cause a disruption. Take that logic one step further. The system isn't chasing no problems, it's chasing problems under control. When you show you can contain a mess brilliantly, the system isn't looking for a way to end the mess. It's just relieved it found a reliable pressure valve. You're not the bridge to a solution. You're the long-term custodian of the problem. Let's look at a real shadow from Silicon Valley. A composite case, but you'll know it's true. A SaaS company has a core product. Under heavy load, it chokes. Service dies for some clients. It happens periodically. They have a senior engineer, Michael. He didn't build the thing, but he knows its dark arts. Through a series of insane black magic parameter tweaks and resource shuffles, he can always bring it back online in 30 minutes. This is the company's get out of jail free card. Michael gets the bonuses, the wizard title. 3 years go by, the bottleneck remains. They almost started a project to rewrite the architecture. But every time it's evaluated, the conclusion is, with Michael here, our downtime is short, client impact is low, the rewrite is high cost, high risk. Let's push it. Michael is a hostage. His own success built the cell. He can't move to creative new projects because the system and his bosses can no longer picture a crisis without him in the frame. He's the ultimate firefighter in a building that will never install sprinklers because why would they? He's always there with the hose. So, back to that first question. If you picked B or C, you see it now. The system's primary goal isn't a cure. It's continuity. Keeping the lights on. And the exceptional problem solver, you're the most efficient, flexible tool for that job. The price you pay is your own transformation, from someone who could grow to someone hired to maintain. This is another layer of the identity trap. We've moved from being trapped by flexibility to being locked in by reliability to creating dependency through skill. And now we see the final bind, being held hostage by your own ability to solve things. But the traps don't end here. What happens when you play this solver role too well? When the system becomes utterly dependent on you, you gain something. Visibility. That sounds good, right? More attention, more recognition. Here's the unfortunate truth. In the system's rules, visibility is a double-edged sword, and the sharp edge is always pointing at you. In our next session, we advance to the fourth lesson in this series, a brutal look at what the spotlight really costs. But here's the twist. The more visible you become, the higher the stakes. The moment you're seen as the key player, your margin for error shrinks to zero. Don't miss this next one, where we expose why being the go-to hero is exactly what makes you the most vulnerable. It's called When Visibility Becomes a Liability. We'll pull apart why the moment you step from the shadows as the quiet fixer into the light as the visible key person, your margin for error drops to zero. Every tiny stumble gets magnified. You lose a fundamental right, the right to fail quietly. If you want to avoid the journey from firefighting hero to designated target, what comes next is essential. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're about to unveil the ultimate paradox of being seen in the systems game.